Welcome, creatives, to the Creative's Way. I am your host, Bruce Briggz. I am so excited because today I get to interview and have a dope conversation with somebody who is very special to me. She is an amazing singer. She's an amazing woman, and she just so happens to be my wife. So I want to introduce to some and present to others my wife, Darian Deedee Elliott.
I am weak.
Hey, babe.
Hi. Oh my God. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
In the few hours that I've seen you since you left the house.
For sure. Yeah. it's been a whole day.
You're nervous?
A little bit.
Why?
You know, first episode. And I shouldn't be because I'm hanging out with my wife.
I'm just saying.
Well, of course, you know, people know somewhat of who you are and all that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to bring you on first and, you know, show just who you are in our space.
So I can bless the spot
So you can
early.
bless the spot early.
Okay, cool.
You had to. You were
I'm
the first
down with
person.
that.
Yeah, so I'm really
that.
excited about that.
Okay.
But I guess at this point we start from the beginning.
Okay.
So where are you from? And because a lot of people feel like, you know, you from here, like you're from, you know what I mean, Dallas, but where are you from? And I guess when did you basically fall in love with music in this space?
So I am originally an Arkansas girl. I was born in a very, very, very small town in Arkansas, about 2 hours southeast of Little Rock, called Elaine, Arkansas.
Okay.
But my people are in West Helena, Arkansas. So I was there up until I was about 5.
Okay.
And then my mom remarried and we moved to a small city right outside of Edwards Air Force Base in the Mojave Desert in California. So I spent all of my elementary school, middle school in California. So before I left Arkansas, my mom was known as, she was kind of like the diva of our, you know, jurisdiction. I grew up Kojic, so, you know, all about it. I am all about it. So she was like she was the diva of our jurisdiction. She was the one that they always called on for solos. Anytime we had to go to another church, if you saw our church, Powerhouse Church of God in Christ, come in with my mom,
It was a wrap.
Done. Like your choir should probably go up first because we gonna close this out.
Gotcha.
So I grew up knowing that my mom was an amazing singer, and I started singing when I was 3. You know, the stories are always, you know, they stood me up. You know, I would stand on, you know, chairs or whatever. I performed always. It's always been a thing. So yeah, I think that because I know that I come from a family of singers, like my mom, my mom's dad, my grandfather, and then my grandfather's mom. And even though I didn't get to meet my great grandmother, I've heard that she was like a powerhouse in church. Like she was one of the mothers at the church that it could be quiet and she breaks out in some really loud hymn and it's like everybody just joins in with her. It makes perfect sense to me because of who I am today.
For sure.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like when I guess that's when I fell in love with music. It's always been around. It's what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Was singing professionally like a dream of yours at all?
Absolutely not.
So how did you go from, you know, just being the little girl in church that was just kind of singing to now being able to, you know, sing? And of course we'll go through that, but just how did you go from being the little girl that was just singing, you know, on chairs and in church to now on major platforms? Like, what was that thought process as far as for you? How did that get to?
So growing up, I was always very big on education. Okay. I could care less about the arts. I really didn't. It was a thing like, oh, I sing in school, and I was, the girl that if there's going to be a talent show, because that's always been a thing, is that I've never necessarily wanted the spotlight of singing. Like, they would have to threaten me. Like, my teachers would have to threaten me at school and say, they would call my mom and say, there's a talent show happening and Darian hasn't signed up for it. And so mama would just be like, Deedee, and I'm like, I don't care about that, because the thing is, I would get in these talent shows at the last minute. Mm-hmm. I would win the talent shows. And then the following school year, I would go into the school year with no friends. my friends from the previous year, they're pissed, because it's like, I came and, so it was, I had such a, even though I knew that it was okay for me to sing in church, it always was a thing that outside of church, it was like, people don't stick around when you do this for real, and it don't take a lot of practice, and I can just sing this stuff because I just know how to do it. So, I was completely off, like, singing as a career forever. And then because I'm the oldest child, I think that I have this thing about me where I'm just gonna do what needs to be done to get the job done. Right. So that means I'm gonna go to work, but if you ask me to come and do some singing, because I feel like if you trust me enough to even ask me to do it, then I should just show up and do a good job. And I think that I kept showing up and doing good jobs everywhere, that it was a thing of, now I am working a full-time job, and now I'm singing as much as I'm working this full-time job. So I'm going to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting off work at 5, going to the studio at 6:30, being in the studio till 2 a.m., and then doing this all over every single day. And on the weekends, there is no hanging out with people that don't sing, that are not musicians. That's all that I do. And so, so eventually I got tired of trying to choose one or the other. So I just, walked off the job one day and just said, let's just see what music does. Yeah. And we're just seeing what music does today. That's it.
So in that, it was mainly just, I'm just going to sing just to, like you said, just to get the job done. Yeah. But there was a specific, I guess, idea. I don't want to necessarily say dream, but it was like a specific idea of a platform that you wanted to sing on.
Yes. So when we left California because my stepfather wanted to come to Dallas, because at the time Bishop Jakes had started the Potter's House, and he wanted to be a part of that ministry. So we came here because we wanted to, my parents wanted to be a part of the church. So the very first Sunday that we go to the church, I will never forget it. It's an 8 o'clock service. At the time, the building that is now the Potter's House was nothing like what it was, back in '97. Right. So it's the what is now the youth building, but it was a building that sat 5,000 people. It's 8 o'clock. The service starts at 8 o'clock. We were there at like 6:30, 6:45. So we're sitting maybe like 7 rows from the front. And my mom had gotten us up early. And, again, I'm the oldest. So because we come from, the Church of God in Christ, it's Deedee, you got to wear, a skirt, got to wear stockings, whatever. So I get up, I'm dressed like it's Easter Sunday. And we walk in church, we're sitting down, and I'm directly across the aisle from me is a lady. I will never forget this. This lady had on a purple and gold like warm-up suit, not like the sweats, but like the noisy. Remember the ones from the 90s, the windbreakers.
Yeah, the windbreakers.
She had on a windbreaker suit with a purse that had a big clock on the side of the purse, and I was just like, what is this?
What?
But I wasn't focused on the purse with the clock. I mean, because now Deedee would have been focused on the purse with the clock.
Right.
But I'm looking at her in this
Laker
windbreaker, and I'm like, right, in her Laker suit. And I'm like, she got on pants. Not only does she have on pants, but she have on things that you should be going to like the laundromat in.
Ooh-wee.
So I looked at my mom and I was just like, I shouldn't have to wear pants back here again.
Right.
So after I got over that part, like I'm dressed like it's Easter Sunday and everybody else is up in here with t-shirt and jeans on. The praise team comes out, and every single Sunday morning, the praise team always opened up praise and worship with John P. Key's song, It's Time to Praise the Lord.
Oh.
So as
Kill
soon
it.
as you heard that, you
It
knew,
was
okay,
a
bam,
wrap.
it's,
Yep.
So Josiah at the time was 9 people. I still know everybody's faces that was on that team, and they sounded like a record every single Sunday.
Wow.
And I looked at my mom and I told her, I said, that's what I'm gonna do when I grow up. Now, mind you, I'm not thinking that they do this professionally or whatever. What I was saying was, when I grow up, because I know that I'm gonna be in church when I grow up, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be an usher. I'm not gonna be a greeter, not gonna work with the kids. I'm going to be on Josiah, and that's all I wanted to do.
Wow.
That's it. Everything else that I've done past, because I did eventually get on Josiah and sang on Josiah for
A long time.
11 years.
Yeah.
It never dawned on me that, I could actually make a living doing this. I could actually like take care, like I could pay bills.
Yeah.
I never what? No.
So what was that? What was that first? Well, you're saying, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to, sing on Josiah.
Yeah.
And it comes up to, do you remember like when you first got on Josiah, or you got the chance to be able to really sing?
Yeah.
And
Yes. So the praise and worship leader at the time, Johnny Murray,
okay.
we were friends on Facebook, and I used to come to church, and he was singing what I now know as CCM songs. But he sang this one song, the praise team sang this one song, Mighty to Save by Hillsong. And I could not get that song. Like I was singing it all week long. So I had done something somewhere. I sang somewhere, but anyway, I had changed my profile picture on Facebook to me standing at this mic singing. And he sends me a message, or I had commented on something that he put up, and I guess he must have came to my page to see who I was, and he saw, the picture or whatever. So he sends me a message and he says, why aren't you singing on Josiah? And I'm like, cause I don't know how to audition for the team. Now, mind you, I had been at the church this whole time, but between 2000, so I graduated high school in 2000, between 2000 and 2007, I had 2 children and I wasn't married.
Whew.
So you can't be out here singing on people's praise teams,
Right. Constantly
getting pregnant.
Right.
So I had just been coming to church. I hadn't been singing at church at all. And so I told him, I said, I don't know how to get on the team. And so he said, come to the church Tuesday night. And what I now know is that Josiah would rehearse on Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturday mornings. Looking back on it, that was a lot of rehearsing.
It's a lot of rehearsing.
Nobody rehearses that much
It's
today.
a lot of rehearsing, but you on the...
Yeah. So I get to church, and they want to have an interview with me or whatever, which is the Potter's house. I'm used to this. It is what it is. So he asked me some questions, and then he asked me to sing something. And I sang I Can Only Imagine. And he was just sitting there, and the other 2 people that was with him, they were just sitting there. He was just like, that's the song you're going to sing with the team. I don't know what he's talking about. When he said that's the song you're going to sing with the team, I'm like, oh, well, I guess this means that I'm on it. Well, then he takes me over into the room where the team is actually in there rehearsing. And he asked me to, like basically end rehearsal with them. So we're all standing in a circle and we're praying. After that night, he ended up sending me a message Thursday and said, can you come to rehearsal on Saturday morning? I went to rehearsal Saturday morning, and they were singing the next day at church. They were going to be singing River Flow by Donnie McClurkin.
Yes, yeah.
And he pulled me out that Saturday morning at rehearsal and asked me to kind of ad-lib on the song with him. I'm just thinking that this was, because at this point I've sang in front of him, but I haven't sang in front of the team. So I'm thinking he was just asking me to sing in front of the team just so that they could hear me. Rehearsal is over, and he says, can you be at church in the morning at 6:30? I was like, okay. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm just singing with the team in the morning. He's like, no, I need you to lead this song with me. I just got on the team today.
And you got to sing.
And I was literally leading worship the next day.
Wow.
And that was how it was. So we kind of, whenever he wanted me to lead a song, that's just kind of like where it was. I had no clue that, the first Sunday that I sang on the team, nobody knew that it was happening. Like, my mama didn't know that I was coming out that Sunday morning. So I call him my stepdad but him and my mom have, since divorced or whatever. Right. But he is working cameras. He was on the camera crew at the time. And so he's constantly zooming in.
You had your own personal...
He's constantly zooming in on me.
Your own personal
and he's going to my mom, in church. He's like, is that Deedee up there singing? And mama was just like, yeah, because again, we're not thinking this is something that I could do full time, to make money. So mama's thing is, oh my God, my daughter is singing on stage at the Potter's house. And so she's calling all of my family or whatever. I had no clue that nothing else was coming after that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. But it's the Potter's house. So it's like, I don't know. It was almost like it was living a dream every single week. Yeah. Every single week. And the crazy thing was, I sang nonstop. I did not have a Sunday off for 5 years.
Yeah.
Every single week. My schedule started to revolve around, I can't go out of town this weekend because I have to be at church Sunday morning because I have to lead this or I have to lead that. But it was my dream, so I was good with it.
Because basically at that point, like you said, you're at the Potter's house. It's the biggest mega church, definitely Dallas-wise, but worldwide.
And the crazy thing was, I wasn't thinking about this. So a lot of people would think, oh, it's Bishop Jakes.
Right.
I never looked at Bishop Jakes as the celebrity type pastor that everybody else has looked at him as. He always, I always thought of him as, this is just my pastor. So to see him in passing was just like, oh, that's Bishop Jakes.
Right.
The praise team was what was Hollywood for me. Yes. I was like, I'm doing this every single week. Right. So yeah, I would deal with whatever, they had me dressing. At the time, I wasn't even 30. And they would have me out here with flowers, the big flowers. They would say, oh, this week's attire is dressy black and pearls. And I'm just like, I got to go and find me a pearl necklace. But I didn't care because it was my dream.
That was the dream.
Yep.
That, first of all, that's just amazing, period. So then now we're going and basically coming into, you at this point, you have the girls, you get married.
I got married, yep.
And so now you're really into life and working.
Yes.
And all of that.
Yep.
And I tell people this all the time, as much as you are quote unquote a creative, that you are very corporate and very, that and the creative side is the off and on, you know what I mean, thing. Yeah. And so now you're doing your corporate job, you're working, and you get a phone call.
Yeah, so 2013, March of 2013, the Potter's House is having spring revival. And I have to sing, I have to lead this particular Tuesday night, and I had to be at church by 6, I think. So I had told my job I need to switch my schedule because I worked basically in sales for a cable company. And so at the time, I was managing the nights. So I was working like 1 to 10. So I had told them I need to change my schedule this week because I have spring revival at church. I need to work 8 to 5. So this particular day, I go to work as normal, but closer to lunch, noon, I just started getting this feeling like, yo, I cannot do this. I just can't continue doing this. I can't keep coming up here to this job. I don't want to deal with these people on the phone. You know, folks really do act strange with customer service over the phone. My people was constantly getting gone off phone every day for cable. Okay. And so I was just over it. So I left for lunch and I was going through the motions of getting all my stuff together, going to the car, got in the car, didn't know where I was going for lunch, and some type of way ended up on Loop 12. From, you know, those of us that, you know, that are here in Dallas, my job was in between 114 and 161 in Beltline. And some type of way I ended up on 408 and was just like.
So at this point, you were heading home.
I was home because I lived at 408 in Clark. Right. So I pull up into my garage, walk in the house. My then husband was laying in the bed watching TV. And when I walked in, he was just like, what are you doing? And I said, I think I quit my job today. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, I think I quit my job. I get into bed and take a nap. I get into bed, I take a nap, I wake up, take a shower, I have to be at church. That was it. So I quit my job.
Right.
Next day, my boss calls me 5 a.m. He's like, I just can't believe that this is what you did. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm really done. He was like, if you come back today, I won't even penalize you for leaving us without, you know what I'm saying? I said, I'm not going to be able to do it. That weekend, my friend Naya Cotton calls me and says, hey, are you available for a studio session? Kirk Franklin is doing a studio session for Tasha Page Lockhart. She had just won Sunday Best, I believe.
Wow.
Or maybe, yeah, something like that. Anyway, I did this studio session and Kirk was like, you know, why haven't I met you? And I was like, I don't know. Because that's another thing with me is that with artists that I grew up listening to or whatever, I don't necessarily have a fangirl moment with that type of stuff. Because to me, it's like, I want to get the job done.
Right.
I don't care nothing about the fame that you have.
Right. We're
here to work. I just want to get this done so that I can leave the studio. Not trying to be here all night, whatever.
Right.
And so he was just like, well, you know, can we keep working together? Because, like, I love your sound. I love your voice. And I was just like, yeah, that's cool. So that's the first time that I thought, okay, maybe I kind of know, because my friends at the time, I was, you know, a lot of my friends were singers and musicians, and they did not work full-time jobs. And so, you know, they were always encouraging me, like, you know, you can totally do it, blah, blah, blah. So I think that was kind of like the first time that I felt like, oh, maybe this is something I can do. And then fast forward to that summer, my friend Peaches, Chelsea West, calls me and she says, do you want to go on an adventure this summer? Now, at this point, Peaches and I had been friends for like 2 years. She knew good and doggone well I don't do adventure. No, I don't care about that. Like, I need a plan. I need to know what we're doing. So she says, let's go on this adventure. And she says, there's a show that's coming back to NBC called The Sing Off. And I was like, I've watched that show like every season. Yeah. And so she was like, so I'm gonna get a group of us together and we're gonna go out and do this show. And I'm like, do you know the kind of singing they do on this show? We don't sing like that. She was like, no, as long as we got D'Honest, we'll be good. And then That was in May, June. In July, we're out in LA shooting the sing-off.
Wow. And that's at that point where a lot of people know you from.
Right. I did the sing-off. The sing-off came on. It was on pretty much the whole month of December. The acapella group that Peaches and Deanna's put together was called 10. We had never sang acapella before, had never sang as a group before. Ended up going on this show, making it to first runner-up. Every week I was confused when they would say 10 is safe. I'm like, what are you talking about? These people have been singing this like they've been singing this for years, and here we come just and got together, and we're in there not knowing how to read music. It's just like, but we're picking up everything by ear.
Right.
It worked.
Right.
And we ended up, coming in, second on the show. And from then on, things I never stopped working after that. Like, wow. I never got to a time where, and that was in 2013 was when we shot that show. It's 2021 and I haven't gotten to a place where it's like, there's no work happening whatsoever. Like, I'm always and consistently working.
Wow. Which
is so strange because, again, I said I didn't know, I wasn't trying to be a singer professionally. It wasn't a dream of mine at all. I kind of feel like I asked God to allow me to be able to sing on Josiah. And it's almost like, that meme where it says, when God was making this person, mm-hmm. he was pouring over, but then, he dropped the cup. Yep. I just feel like the cup just dropped and things just spilled out, and he was just like, we just gonna let her keep it. So, me singing on Josiah was what I asked for. All of this extra was, it's just blessings on blessings on blessings, however that song goes.
Absolutely. We're gonna take a break. The Creative's Way is sponsored by World Fidelity Life. They realize how important your family is to you and are determined to provide the best living benefits life insurance has to offer. World Fidelity Life. They make life insurance easy. Welcome back to The Creative's Way. Of course, I am here and hanging out with my lovely wife, Deedee.
I love to hear you say that.
I love to say it. Let's be very clear.
Well, that's dope.
I've been waiting to be married to you for a long time.
This is what I've heard. I'm good with it.
I'm loving it. Just period. Because this is literally what we do anyway.
Yeah.
But so we talked about 10, and you basically haven't stopped working, since then. Mm-hmm. And now we can get into how we met.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. So for me, I love just telling, the story. Because sometimes I can tell it to people, mm-hmm. and I'm saying like my side, of it. But I totally want people to know it from your side, and of course, I'll mm-hmm. enter, and then and we can just let them know, what's up.
So it's very crazy because I feel like things happen the way they're supposed to happen, times and people and places.
For sure.
All of this is all connected.
Right.
So I started working with Chrisette Michelle in 2012. Mm-hmm. And in 2016, I did one last show with her because at the time I was getting ready to start singing in Bishop Jake's girl group, Grace.
Yes.
So April 2016 was my last show with Chrisette. And then you started working with her in May, as her MD.
Right.
In May of 2016.
Right, because I had worked with her in
January. Before.
Yeah.
So So August 2016, she's coming to Dallas for a show.
Right.
And I knew this already. We had already talked about the fact that, you know, me and my friends are coming to your show. We're hanging out afterwards. It's a thing. Yes, Chrisette. Me and Chrisette.
Right.
I don't know who you are. Have never heard your name before.
At all.
Ever.
Period.
So one particular day, a couple of days before Chrisette gets here, I do TBN with Myron Butler.
Right.
And in the car on the way home, Myron's record had just come out. I'm in the car on the way home, and I'm listening to the record and singing along with it, and put up a video on Instagram of me singing along with this song. And you comment on the video.
Yep.
I don't know who you are, but I'm just like, I mean, you know, at this point, the sing-off has happened. So I am now familiar with random people talking to me like they know me. And I just talk back because I don't want nobody to ever feel like I'm being shady. So
This is my wife. I just want to let you guys know how this works from now on.
I don't be knowing nobody, but I'm talking to people. And so you comment and you say,
I said sing.
Yep, I was singing and you was just like, sing. And I was like, oh, you should totally get Myron's record.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's so good. And you was like, I'm already knowing. And then you commented back and said, hopefully I'll be able to see you, you know, when we get into town.
Right.
I see
now,
this.
Hold on. Let's be clear. Let's be very clear. I wasn't going and like shooting my shot.
No. It was nothing.
I'm saying that I know who Deedee is. I've been following you for a minute.
I know none of this.
Into her city.
Yep.
So I'm saying, hey, I know that we have mutual friends, all that kind of stuff. I hope that we get to connect. You know.
And now knowing you, this makes perfect sense of what it is that you do, because you stay talking to people that you don't know.
Well, we're one and the same at that point. So
but
I don't mean any strangers.
Right. And so you say this. I go to your page because at this point I'm like,
this is
you come in. You're saying that we can see each other this weekend. I don't know you, so I go to your page. I see that you're a drummer. I completely gloss over your bio, so I don't know that you play for Chrisette.
Right.
I come back to my page, I comment back to you and say, when will y'all be here?
Right. I gave you the days that we're going to be
You
there.
said, I'll be there Saturday, I'm leaving on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I say, oh, okay, I'm sure our paths will cross at some point.
And boy, did they not.
They crossed, child.
They sure did.
So we get to the show Sunday night. I still don't know that you are the guy. I still don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking this guy. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the conversation after I had it.
Right.
I completely went on about my business. Right. So our mutual friends and another friend, we go to the show.
Yeah.
We get to Will Call, and I pick up 4 tickets because I'm thinking I've gotten 4 tickets for the 4 of us that is together. Right. But then our friend Nate goes to the window himself and he got tickets. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Nate talked to Chrisette. So that's how he got tickets to the show.
Right.
Even though I was like, she knows that me and Nate are probably going to be together.
Right.
Again, I still don't know that this is you. So we sit in the show. After the show is over, you come up to where we are. Nate introduces us.
Yes. You still don't know that
I don't know that you're the guy from Instagram.
Right.
So then we go backstage. We're, back there kicking it with Chrisette. Y'all got a meet and greet line that's out of this world.
Super crazy.
And so we're trying to figure out, okay, where we're going to eat, whatever. So we decided we're going to go and get something to eat. And I'm asking you, are you coming, to the place? And you were like, well, I got to do this meet and greet line. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure Nate will come back and get you whatever. Like, you're his friend. Y'all ain't seen each other. I don't know what any of this is. Like, I have no clue. I don't know what this is.
Right.
So you come to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting at a table of 6 people, and the only empty seat is in front of me.
In front of you.
So you come, you sit down, and you say, okay, so how was the show?
Yep.
and I told you what I thought of the show.
Yes.
And then from then on,
in true Deedee fashion.
In true me fashion. And so after we have that conversation, or as we're talking, now mind you, it's 4 other people at the table, and everyone is having all these conversations. And at some point, me and you look at each other, but really like look at each other, like we're looking at each other in the eye. And it just seemed like everybody in the restaurant, like nobody else was there. It was almost like a Disney something. A spotlight showed up, and it was just us in this restaurant by ourselves. And from then on, it's just been, in the beginning, it really was like, that's like my friend. Like,
absolutely.
But again, this whole time, because you stayed in Dallas a couple of days after the show, I still don't know you're the guy from Instagram.
Yeah. Until
I didn't find out.
Until that night.
Until later on. No, the next night.
The next night, yes.
So by the time you left and went back to LA, now I'm putting it all together like, okay, so he's the guy that was commenting on Instagram. That's why he was saying, I hope I get to see you, because he knows that we have mutual friends, and he knows that the one mutual friend that we have, we're always together.
Exactly.
I had no clue. Whatever. I got a husband out of the deal. So.
I mean, you did. And the biggest thing is we became friends at that point. And I think that was the biggest thing. I always say that our souls knew what, it was going to be. We didn't, because like you said, you're still married at this point. I'm in a full relationship, and regardless of where the relationship was at the time on both ends, it still wasn't a situation to where it was, we are going to, do
because
this.
In my mind, I was just thinking, I've met someone else who does what it is that I am now doing full time. So to me, it's just like, because my thing is, I've done gigs before where I've met musicians, and it's just like, so the next time you come to town, we'll, we'll hang out. And especially because, sometimes people will say things like, men and women, being friends, it can't happen. It's just like, not in this industry that we in. You can totally have friends. You can
totally have friends.
You know what I'm saying? That when they come to town, you like, okay, well, I'll make sure that you're picked up, and we'll go and get something to eat and stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking it was.
Right.
Over time, when it started to change, it was just like, okay. All right.
That was the thing that basically, that was a big deal to us.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
It was totally something that
we were not looking for it at all. Because you couldn't have told me that I was going to marry some man that I was initially introduced to on Instagram. I just kind of feel like, me being an older millennial, we gonna leave that for the younger millennials and Gen Z.
Right.
But the fact that ultimately the very first time that I ever saw your name was on Instagram weeks me to this day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so crazy because the way that, I believe, we both believe that the Lord literally worked this out is because for me, I wanted to be your friend. I wanted to, really understand who Deedee was. I wanted to understand who Darian was, because everybody knows Deedee, but I wanted to understand who Darian was, and that was the biggest thing for me. I mean, and I'm really saying this truly because we would talk, about our relationships, and and I would be, Deedee, what do I do? You know what I mean? She's this way, and I'm you know what I mean? How do I, and vice versa. So that was a really dope thing. And for me, I always wanted to be in love with, the person that I'm gonna marry. I always wanted to be friends with the person that I was gonna marry. And it happened in that way, you know, as our friendship grew, then it was just kind of like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
And
I never cared about being friends with a spouse ever.
yeah,
It's a thing of, okay, like we're supposed to be spouses. We don't have to necessarily be friends.
right.
Now being married to you, I will tell anybody, if you're not friends with your spouse, it's going to be a hard road.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard road because there are times when, you know, with us, you know, I mean, I guess people would consider us still newlyweds. We don't. But there are times when we have to step outside of husband and wife and say, okay, I need to talk to my friend right now. I'm not interested. Like, my husband has pissed me off.
For sure.
I'd like to talk to my friend.
Literally just happened the other night.
Yes. Like, I need to talk to my friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the thing. But the story is, you know, the way we came together, the love that we have, how you were able to get what it was that you wanted you wanted to, you know what I'm saying, be married to somebody that did something similar so that it was understandable. Like, there will be late hours, even though I'm not a full-on creative, so I still will be like, it's 2 a.m. What are we doing? Why are you not, you know what I'm saying? Why are you not here? Why are you FaceTiming me from the studio?
Right.
There still is a mutual respect for what the other does.
Yes.
I also understand that there is nothing about you that is, that can be chained to a desk. That can be really chained to anything.
No.
And so I think me doing what I do for a living for the amount of time that I did before I met you prepared me to be the wife to someone who is a 100% creative and wants to be free to fly at all times. And it's just like, I would rather you be on my wing than you be the one with the scissors saying,
Yeah.
So I think all of what it is that, because I didn't dream of this.
Right.
So all of it, that's what I'm saying, like, everything is connected. All of what it is that I do led me to being in your space. And then once we decided to share space, it's just kind of been up, you know what I'm saying, from there.
It definitely has. And I think one thing that we say a lot is when people talk about marriage, and especially marriage in the entertainment space, right? Because it's totally different with civilians. It's a whole different type of thing. But in our space, there are a lot of, we don't necessarily say that it's hard, but we'll just say that it's challenging, you know. And I love the way that you break it down when it comes to what that challenge, you know, is, because I am a full-on creative and you are, you know, part-time. You know what I mean? 30%. You know what I mean? Day. Like, for you, it's a clock in, clock out.
And for me, you, it's not. There is no time. But I think that's the beauty.
And we had to learn that.
Yes, we had to learn that about each other, because you did not understand why I could do studio sessions with, you know, that one time when Kurt called at like 3 o'clock in the morning and wanted me to come and lay some riffs and runs on top of the Newsboys track for a movie.
Right.
And when we got back home, you were just like, babe, you just went and recorded with like early CCM like royalty. And I'm just like, I don't, listen, it's 5. Are we going to sleep?
We're going to bed. Yeah.
So I think that the beauty of what it is that we do is that, because we know how to give each other space to be the other. I accept you for 100% of what it is that you are. You accept me for 100% of what it is that I am, even though that 100% you know what I'm saying, is comprised of mom, wife, singer, big sister, annoying daughter to my mom, all of those things. and that's how we're able to work. The work part of marriage is the effort that we're putting in every day, not the work of, I got to be going through your phone to make sure that you're, you know what I'm saying, being faithful. All of that is not what I'm talking about, work. Right. And I'm not dealing with the ups and downs. And I'm not doing that. Right. That's why I'm so grateful that we are able to talk everything out. And when we don't feel like we can come to a conclusion, we literally don't stop until we've come to a conclusion. Until we are back in each other's arms, like that's the thing. So I think that I think that had I stayed on my corporate job, I don't think that this would have worked at all. Because I wouldn't have understood why you have to do the things that you do, when to me, it's very simple. Everybody just go and clock in somewhere. Right. Clock in, let's bring these checks home every 2 weeks and we'll be okay. Right. When you're trying to understand a musician where the industry is up and down all the time, right? It just takes a special person to do, and I'm grateful that we're that special person for each other. Yeah, and even I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful that we actually communicate in a way to where we can really understand. I think for the both of us, we really want to understand what each other, does, and not even just in the musician space, but just even the way that I was coming and, loving you and understanding, and basically coming from a functional situation and you being, in the being in dysfunction, but being a functional person in dysfunction. Absolutely. I think that was a thing. And you know what? It helps the love and the way that we are helps the art. It helps me to do my job better. Talk about that. It helps me to do my job better. Like I just feel like, when someone books me to sing like love songs and all that, before, my only draw to pull from, the only well that I could pull from, is the books that I would read. I love African American fiction, so I was always reading books about the woman going through blah blah blah. The man comes, he's the the knight riding in on the white horse, and he's gonna save the day, and they're gonna gallop off into the sunset, whatever. It now actually experiencing it every single day to the point where it's overwhelming. It just makes you sing from a different place. Yeah. It makes you sing from a different place no matter the genre. Yeah. I can sing R&B because I'm now experiencing love on that level. Right. I can sing gospel, I can sing CCM from a different place because God did not forget about me. All of the stuff that I had to deal with, the stuff that, came out that I wasn't expecting to come out, God did not forget about me. He gave me somebody that would cover me through all of that. Yeah. I never had to go through any of that stuff alone. Yeah. And so, I feel like when we linked up and made it official, it changed the way that I do my job. I'm able to sing from a different place now, and I'm grateful for that. So in this time, basically, you had kind of been doing where you were doing, your show. Yep. And had basically been talking about molestation and things, and you being abused and all that kind of stuff, whatever. And so at that point, it wasn't anything that you were really saying for real, but it was just something that was like, hey, whenever the subject would come up, it would be, a thing. And I think on my end, it was really crazy as far as with our connection, because I found out about this like day two, of us having the conversation. And so you had been abused,
molested.
Yep.
And
so I was abused. I was sexually abused by my dad at 13. And me being the type of person that I guess I have always been, is that once I see that I can't do anything about a situation, I pick myself up, I gather myself, and I move on. And that's what I did. I moved on for 20-something years. And then, New Year's Eve night, 2017, going into 2018, one of his other victims posted about it. I showed my friend, and it was just like, oh my God, this is like actually happening.
Yeah.
I felt my life about to fall apart because I had kept this so, though I had talked about being abused, I had always kept who did it to myself.
Right.
To, for the masses to know. My friends knew, but, so, I ended up waking up a couple of days later to all of it being out. My, story of abuse being out on Facebook. I ran to you. Wow. I literally got in the car and came to you.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where it went. At the time, of course, work was still happening, but work had to be modified for me. So work ended up changing to, hey, you'll work later at night so that you don't have to be around other people. But yeah, we made it happen. I think that all of our experiences, it challenges the work that we do in different ways. So there, when people would tell me, oh, when you're singing about this, I can hear like this yearning that you want, or I can hear the pain. Okay, well, that is because I had unresolved issues from being abused and still trying to have a relationship with him over into my adult life. And that's what you're hearing in the music. Well, now, because I'm not in that space anymore, I'm completely living life a totally different way. You hear the music a totally different way, right, because I'm not in that space anymore. So again, I feel like had I been on my corporate job, I would not have been able to manage any of my for real personal stuff that was going on behind the scenes. I think that music has helped me. And when I say music, not just necessarily me singing, but just what music has brought to my life, the people that music has brought to my life, the work relationships that I've developed that have come to my life because of the fact that I decided to step out and say, I'm going to do this full time and let's just see where it goes. Yeah. So, yeah.
Which is really dope.
Yeah.
And we will absolutely finish up in just a second. Yo, what up, creatives? This creative plug of the week goes to Maya Ellington and her new single, On digital platforms everywhere, or wherever you get your music. Go check out Maya Ellington's new single, On, right now. And now I get to ask you some, pretty just kind of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And so, just so we kind of,
Let's
see what's going on. What is your favorite lyric?
My favorite lyric. India Arie has a song called He Heals Me. And I love all of the lyrics to that song. But I think my favorite lyric in that song is, for the first time in my life, I'm not worried about tomorrow, 'cause we have such a beautiful time when we're together. And however it turns out, it's all right, 'cause you've already changed my life. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love when my wife sings, just period. Just like all of y'all. Okay.
Whatever.
I'm a fan too. So
Whatever.
That's just what it is. This is gonna be a very interesting question.
Okay.
What is your least favorite song to perform?
Don't listen. He trying to get me fired. He's trying to get me fired.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a song that you sing
My
with people,
least
but like just
favorite
your
song.
least favorite song that you're just like, if people, you know.
I'm gonna plead the fifth because I'm really gonna upset the people. I have a song in mind, but I'm gonna let everybody be great.
Okay.
But just know there are songs that when they come up on any set list, whether it is who I'm gonna be like, okay, here we go with this. Yeah.
Okay. What's one thing that always makes you feel creative?
Studio sessions with Kirk always make me feel creative because when he sings something to us,
Hilarious.
Of course it's
very funny.
You know what I'm saying? He's singing and I love you. I'm always saying, sing, Kirk. But I have to be able to hear it we have to be connected some type of way for me to be able to sing it back to him the way that he actually heard it in his head. So I think that I get to stretch my creativity that way because, again, you're basically going off of what you just know about him, period. So yeah, I think that makes me feel creative.
Okay. What song is your guilty pleasure?
What song is my guilty pleasure? This song is going to always, always, always make me happy. I don't care where I am and what I'm going through. Brandy has a song on her Human record called Torn Down that every single time I hear, don't tell me I can't build Rome in a day just because you couldn't do it. I'm just like,
so that ministers to you in a whole different type of way.
It's a whole different way. I love it. Oh my God, I love it. But then I just love her, period. Like, in love with her.
Got you. There you go.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get it.
I totally
Great.
get it. Even though, because a lot of people don't necessarily know that you are a writer, but in a different, you know, type of way. So I would ask you this: what song do you wish that you would have wrote?
What song? I really, really, really love. I really love India Ari's song "Sacred Space." I really love that song.
Okay.
I wish that I would have. I wish that I would have written that like for us before we got married. Because everyone was asking me, was I going to sing at our wedding? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I sing all the time. Like, there's no way. But had I wrote that song, I would have sang it at the altar.
Which would have been, like, a super dope moment on top of the dope.
I just thought that it would have been corny for me to sing to you at the wedding when you've been hearing me sing this whole time.
I mean, yes.
Yeah,
I'm saying, yes, I've been hearing you sing this whole time.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm a fan, and I think that it would have been a dope moment. Our wedding was dope.
Yeah.
So I just
would have thought it was corny, so that's why I didn't do it.
Got you. 2 more questions.
Okay. What
is your most favorite song to perform?
My most favorite song to perform, it's so crazy. So with Kirk, we have an opening like medley of songs that we do. And the reason why this is my favorite is because of the choreo that goes with it. But I love, Ayo, 1, 2, 3, get up, we got victory. No weapon they throw at me. I just love that part. Yeah. I only love this part because I think it's so just like cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that opening medley from the Long Live Love tour was really like my favorite because of the dance moves, because I really love dancing when I sing too. If my hips aren't moving on a song that got a groove, it really ain't hitting for me.
Got you.
Yeah.
If you can have another profession, what would it be?
If I was able to do anything else, I would be a forensic nurse. I really love law, and I really love medicine. And that's the one thing that combines them both.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to ask this question, but because you know who I am and how much of a nerd I am, if you could have, and to be the last one, if you could have a superpower,
yes,
what would it be?
Yeah.
And why?
If I had a superpower, it would be for me to be able to read people's minds so that I know who to fool with and who not.
That's such a you.
It's such a me answer. Like, girl, you don't even like me.
Right.
There's no reason for you to be commenting on my things because I'm reading your mind right now. And I know I just posted something and you like, oh, she thinks she all that. I do.
Because you are.
Yeah.
You are all that.
Thank you, babe.
Let's just be clear. Okay? Let's be very, very clear. So what's next, honey?
What is next is what time is it? Well, first of all, today is the 5-year anniversary of us meeting.
A meeting, yeah. Wow.
So I am probably going to go home and, or I probably won't do it tonight, probably tomorrow I'll cook, because I really just love being your wife.
Yeah.
So I love all that comes with. Yeah. So as far as like what's happening next, I take it day by day. I don't know what music looks like for me in the next couple of days. I hope that, I don't have any plans of not working. So whatever comes, I don't have any big major things that's coming up because I just never know what's on the email for tomorrow.
For sure.
So I'm just going to, what I have learned is with all of the stuff that I have dealt with, I really just want to cherish every single moment that I have. So that means the job that's in front of me right now is being your wife and being Terry and Trinity's mom.
Yes.
And that's what I want to do. And if I'm able to get on some big things, some big projects, we'll just see them when I post about them on social media. Yeah. I don't know what's coming. Yeah. I do know loving you is coming though.
I agree. And I think that, and I'd say this, period, I love being your husband, and I'm glad that you chose me. I'm glad that God chose me to come in and be your husband and be, Tita and Trinity's father.
I love that.
And thanks for hanging out.
You're welcome.
This was amazing. And of course, definitely gonna have you back so we can kick it and all of that. So
okay.
I really do. I appreciate you. You're amazing. I am honored to be your husband. And definitely cook. Definitely,
it's my honor.
Definitely cook. I love you so much.
I love you.
Thank you everybody for watching The Creative's Way. Like I said, I'm so honored that you would tune in and hang out with us and watch me just gawk over this beautiful woman here. We love you, and stay tuned. Guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed that episode. It was so good to be able to hang with my honey, and we had such a good time. Such a good time that we have a surprise for you.
Is it a surprise?
I mean, pretty much. You want to give them the
news? Much of a surprise, but I am joining The Creative's Way as co-host. So basically what that means is Bruce and I together are going to be talking to some of our favorite creatives, but then also some creatives that we may not know as well.
Right.
And we are going to dig into their lives, get into their business a little bit, their highs, their lows, how they're managing, how they're making their way through this new world that we have going on when it comes down to what creatives do. So I'm excited to go on the journey and see what comes of it.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. I appreciate you joining.
You're welcome.
And, you know, it's always good to have your person with you. So we're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time. This season is going to be incredible. And I hope you guys just keep it locked so we can have a blast and have some fun.